Hello, good afternoon, and thank you again for clicking on my channel. Today I thought I would do something slightly different, and if you happen to like this, give it a good old thumbs up, because then we can maybe try to do it again. Um, and this is what I would like to call revisiting old series. Um, think about it. What do we think about it from when it started, from when it ended to what it looks like now? Um, and today is talking about good old Ugly Betty. I was one of those people who, if I really liked a series, I I invested in it. Literally, I invested in it. Okay, and I this was one of those shows that I watched like when it came on in 2006, ended in 2010. Sadly, this along with Heroes, which again, if we get a good enough likes, um, I'll do Heroes also, which is going to take a lot longer to get through than watching this because I think that was I don't know if it was about the same length of time as about like an hour and some change maybe as far as like getting through each episode, you know. Um but like, this was like considered comedy, has some drama in there. Little romance, Heroes is I think considered like drama, got some action. Um, I don't know. I don't know what else you would consider that show. But that was also another show that I literally also invested in. But today we're talking about Ugly Betty. And I'm going to try to make this hopefully no longer than 40 minutes, maybe 45. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But anyway, so this was basically they made it Americanized because this was from Mexico, and I had never heard of this until people was like, "Oh, this is like an old show from Mexico." And I'm pretty. I guess it was also called the same thing, but it was just again, it was Mexican in Spanish, and so the premise of this show is like a smart, driven, wholesome girl named Betty who embraces the world in her own way, her own uniqueness. She's not the most, as you can see, the most attractive girl. But what I do like about this show, and it is a little cliche, because if you see from here to here, she went from they have it down here as well, from poncho to honcho. Um, she still had her bettiness in her, but she lost the bangs, she lost the braces, she lost those big thick glasses. She still had glasses, but it was just and then her wardrobe got a little bit better. But that came along through watching it from the very first season to the fourth and final season. Um, I do think they meant for this show to go on more, and it could have gone on more. Um, but due to the writer strike around that time, they had to cut some shows. And this, along with Heroes, were some of those shows that they had to, you know. And anyway, so Betty is played by America Ferrera, who is a phenomenal actress. She plays Betty Suarez, and she submitted her resume, got a call back to Mead Publications, and was hoping to, start out there, maybe to eventually become like an editor, become like a writer. She ended up not by Daniel Mead, but by his father. Daniel is played by Eric Mabius. Um, he's known for a few roles, but I definitely know him from this show. But looking at him, I remember seeing him in Cruel Intentions, The Crow, Salvation. Um, what else do we have here? There's a little some cliche holiday movies. Um, but yeah, I think his most iconic role was Ugly Betty. I think a lot of people in this show, because if they didn't really go anywhere, it's this show right here. And it may be sad to say, but it is true, you know. Anyway, so Eric plays Daniel Mead, and he was one of those man whores. I don't know how else to say it, but he was a man whore, and he slept around a lot, um, and his father gave him the position. And in Hollywood, you call that nepotism. So anyway, so she submits her resume. She goes in for an interview. She doesn't get the job. She goes back home and whatever. She starts crying and she really thought she had a shot. But then her father, not her, I'm sorry, his father. Um, let's see, do they show him? Bradford Mead, played by Alan Dell. Um, he saw her as she's walking out of the off the premises and knew what kind of women that Daniel likes and looked at her and was like, she's perfect for the job. So she ended up getting the assistant role and was an assistant to him for um maybe up until the third season, maybe. Because then I think in the third season she began to have her own office and doing something else in the mode world, and was no longer their assistant. But he knew that Daniel would not be attracted to her because that is not the kind of girl that Daniel would sleep with. And so he had to kind of like find a girl that, again, one he would not sleep with, and make sure that he would take his role seriously. And when Betty found that out, she was sad, but she also wanted to be taken serious. But she wasn't because her ridiculous outfits that she wore every day at to mode. Um, but that is the sad thing, because when you're working in a fashion industry, one, you need to be taken serious due to your clothing, and two, you need to know about fashion. She didn't know about any of those things. So, but again, she was an assistant, so she wasn't necessarily needing to know these things. She just needed to be making sure she did her job, and she did. She done her job very well. She took it serious. Actually, a little too serious because she was definitely involved in Daniel 24/7, which is kind of sad. But I know, in some cases, like Devil Wears Prada, which I think that's where they got some of their things from. Um, that um, she she took advantage of Emily, and she kind of was kind of on call 24/7 too. And that's the Emily because that's what she called her. Anyway, we're not talking about Devil Wears Prada. Anyway, so once he saw her for a good person and knew that she was going to take care of him and do what he asked of her, he took her serious and leaned on her not only as an assistant but as a friend. There's drama in this show. Is there drama? There's drama in this show. Oh boy. And but then in like Betty's family, you got her Poppy, as she calls him, Ignacio Suarez, played by Tony Plana. I know he's done other things, but again, when I seen him first, I saw him only in Ugly Betty, but then didn't realize that he had been in other things like um, The Three Amigos, Mayans, which was later, and another one later was Only Murders in the Building. I don't know, so on and so on. He has a pretty big resume as well. Um, and then the sister, played by Anna Ortiz, Hilda Suarez. She's a very sassy New Yorker. Um, she's been in stuff like, um, I think later, like Devious Maid, Big Mama's House. Um, what else? What else? Goosebumps. Yeah, little things here and there. But again, you watch this show and you see people like, oh, and if you see her and you're like, oh my god, I know her like from Ugly Betty, and yeah, Um, and then you got the nephew slash Hilda's son, Justin Suarez, played by Mark. He definitely went on to do bigger things. Because after Ugly Betty, he's in this famous show, Hacks, which I have not watched, by the way, but I hear it's a really good show. Um, She's the He, With Love, Dead of Summer, little stuff like that. The thing for me about this particular boy, because he was definitely a boy in the show, um, is he didn't think that no one would know that he's gay. And I'm like, if you've watched this show, if you're familiar with this show and seen his very flamboyant ways about him, it's like, hello, a blind person would know you're gay. Because in this last season, when his mother got married, he did invite his friend to the wedding, and he was so scared to, I guess, dance or be close to him because he didn't know what his family was going to think. And a lot of people, like, including Betty, was like, Justin, we're going to love you no matter what. And your mother will love you no matter what. Without we're trying to say like we all know, because we all knew. Hello, like I think it's just so funny. And I'm sorry not to get off track of this show, but in the gay world, and especially for those who are, and it's very sad to see that certain people still refer themselves as DL. And I'm like, we're in 2026. Are there still people that are DL? Yes, apparently that there is. There are still people DL. And I'm like, 99.9% of the people who are DL are people that you would definitely know that they're gay. I'm like, who are you kidding? And if you're married, your wife is fucking in denial. She is in denial. Anyway, getting back to the show. So then you also have these very, when you first started watching the show, these very rude, very sassy, very arrogant but funny assistants. Amanda, she was like the receptionist. She was the first person you would see when you walk into Mode. Mark St. James, he was the assistant to Wilhelmina, which I'm going to get to her. And Amanda, played by Becky Newton, she is such a pretty girl, but in the show, she just comes off as just like an airhead, but she's, I don't want to call her dumb, but like she's smart in her own way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like she's smart. Um, but she's all about fashion. She also has slept with Daniel, and at one point, especially in the beginning of the show, she thought that she could have been somebody that he could be with, but I guess he didn't see her as one of those people. Um, Mark St. James is played by Michael Urie. He's also so freaking funny. I can't stand it sometimes how funny he is, but just some of the things. I mean, I know it's written, but like I wish I could interview some of these people because I do wonder like were some of these things ad libbed because you just like you could say things, but it's just like sometimes just like how you say it, and it's just like it almost seems like it just rolled off his tongue, and it just I don't know. The show was just so fabulous. It was so written well, and I don't know. I would just like this is. I got really bored at a certain point again, which is why I'm doing this. And I was scrolling through Disney because I have the bundle, and I saw it on there because it's really part of the Hulu, but Disney owns Hulu, and I was like, why not watch this again? Why not revisit it again? Even though if I really wanted to, I could have popped it in, um, but I was just like, like when you get really lazy, you don't have to keep taking a DVD out, So it's like, let me just click, 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 Anyway, so them two together, like they're like besties at work. Um, Vanessa Williams, she's an icon in her own. She plays Wilhelmina Slater, um, and she is the devil in disguise. She is so devious. She's so underhanded. She's so clever. Um, and I do wonder because I've always heard from actors that playing a villain is such like a dream role because you don't want to also be playing a sweet and innocent person your whole life. So her playing a villain, I bet that was just such a fun role. But she played the part so well. And the things that she would have Mark do or help her do, also just so underhanded. just just like wow, wow, wow. Judith Light, um, she plays Claire Mead, and if you're not familiar with Judith Light, the first thing I remember seeing her from was Who's the Boss? That was a show that I grew up watching. That was from the 80s. Um, that's definitely telling slash showing my age. She is the mother of Daniel Mead. Um, I'm just kind of right now. I'm just kind of like going through these actors who play certain characters. Um, Rebecca Romaine. At, at one point, she was a Rebecca Romaine Stamos, but now she's not married to him. Now she's married, but she don't have his last name. She is married to Jerry O'Connell, which shock, 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 shock value. Like, she is like such a stunning woman, and seeing her with someone like Jerry O'Connell, I don't know if anybody could have saw that coming. But I guess maybe, and it is a good thing. I'm not saying Jerry O'Connell's ugly, but like he's no John Stamos. Just saying that. But it's good also that she doesn't just see looks. Sometimes you have to get to know somebody, and they've been together for quite some time. And anyway, so Rebecca plays Alexis Mead. At one point, she was Alex Mead. They never shown Alex except for like flashback scenes, and so he is a trans person, transitioned into a woman. It's always fascinating that they actually get a woman to play a role like that. I don't know if it's just if you can't find someone to play that role as like a transitioning person to make it believable. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I don't want to go. I don't. Um. Anyway, I think we covered most of these people, but I mean, there's some people left, but I'm going to get to them. So Betty, um, as awkward and not as attractive person as she was, she had a boyfriend, and his name was Walter, played by Kevin Sussman. I'm not very familiar with him, but just throwing his name out there. He ended up cheating on her with the neighbor. And then Betty got googly eyes from one of the people who does the taxes, in the mode officer Mead world. Henry, played by Christopher Gorham. He's a very attractive guy. I think he played that nerd role kind of well. I mean, they had such chemistry, him and Betty. But it just at some point it just didn't work out. There was always like roadblocks, hurdles in the way of them. And and then eventually, when they kind of did get together, there was Geo. But like Henry, again, it's a long thing to get into, but there was like a love triangle. So it's like Betty and Henry eventually was going to get together, but then Henry had um a girlfriend back home, but they broke up. But then she came here. I say here, came to New York, and was I guess some by magical thing they got back together, and um they worked it out. So Betty was kind of bummed. Betty eventually started looking at Geo. Geo was a sandwich guy. He's played by Freddie Rodriguez. Um, Also attractive guy. And it's funny how like all these guys come into her her role or her world, and just some things just don't work out. In the end, she didn't end up with anybody, but she eventually got a job at another magazine company in Rome, and so now she's kind of like helping running that magazine, which was her dream job. So in the end, it kind of worked out. Um, but yeah, there is again a lot of things to go through. Um, let's see. I didn't want to talk too much about it because I would be running up the time talking about this show because it's such a great show. But let's look at some of the reviews, shall we? So a person gave it a 10 out of 10. This was in 2006, and it makes sense for what they said because it says great new show. That is the title. Star America Ferrera makes the show completely worthwhile. I have seen most of the new shows that have premiered for this season, and so far, in my opinion, Ferrera gives hands down the best new female performance out there. The portrait that she paints as Betty is realistic, humorous, and makes you feel for her in everything that she does and goes through. I doubt there is anybody that won't root for this lovely girl, and yes, she is lovely and more, even in the Betty getup because she is such a sweet, intelligent, accomplished, and kind person. The show as a whole is a bit I can't pronounce the word, but I like it's formulaic. Um, some words I just can't pronounce. Like I know what it's saying, but anyway, make fun of me. You can. Um, but what the show isn't up to at a certain degree. But I'm glad that I watched it for her. The rest of the characters are pretty well done, most especially the girls who become Betty's friends at the magazine, though it will take some time and make them interesting as the main character. Um, Everybody has felt the way Betty feels at some point in their life and it will be a drawing point in her world, I think. All I can say is watch it. It won't be for everyone, but many will be pleasantly surprised. America Ferrera is brilliant, and I think she should get an Emmy uh, for this role. Um, Another one gave it a 10, says legendary. Oh, words cannot express how much one actually loves this series. Like I was a teenager when this came out. This was in 2023, by the way. And since now I am in my early 30s and have just she just finished watching it for the millionth time and revel in how iconic it is. Anyways, Vanessa Williams, oh my god, what an unbelievably talented, amazing, sensational actress she is. I mean, her performance is utterly sensational. Credit it. Well, I'm just gonna say it's not what her words is, but credit where credit is due. I cannot fault anything with this series. Only negative thought about the show is that it ended so prematurely after 4 seasons. Yes, the show is legendary. I will agree with that, but I mean, it's not the fault for any of these people who played their roles. It was a writer strike, and I've already talked about that. There were shows that ended. Like I said, this show, Heroes didn't. It left like unfinished. At least this got to finish in a way, because they said final season, and it kind of gave Betty like such a like, oh, she's in Rome and she's doing well. All right, okay, that's good. Good for her. The Heroes, you're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Um, Another one gives it a 9 out of 10. I don't know why. Well, I guess we'll read it and find out. I don't know why a 9 and a 10. Okay, so sure, a show worth the watch. Okay, so I'm from the UK and I have cheated a little. Got my American friend to send all the first season of Ugly Betty, and I loved it. So this was in 2007. When I first heard about Ugly Betty, I thought, yes, a show about a girl who isn't drop dead gorgeous. So forgive me for being so cliche, but I felt I could relate to her. Although, point one, Betty is not ugly. Sure, she has glasses. Who doesn't nowadays? Braces with most of the perfect teeth I have ever seen, and some questionable eyebrows, but who cares? To me, Betty is not ugly. Let's just get that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to go back to that, but I'm going to finish. This show is one of the best American she should have put S, shows I have seen in a long time. Apart from Desperate Housewives, which I very much enjoy, the characters are fabulous. Betty, such a sweetheart, who everyone would love as a friend. Daniel, some eye candy. Wilhelmina, I surprised how much I have grown to like her over the season. Amanda and Mark are a fabulous double act. Can I join, please? Christina, I forgot to mention her, but she's a designer and she's Scottish. I love her, and even though some characters make fun of her for being Scottish, like calling her Braveheart, I love the character and the jokes about her accent. The show, um, the show for me has everything. I am not just saying this, but in the very first episode, I laughed, I cried at people laughing at Betty, and overall, I was left with a warm feeling that my dreams are possible and that beauty is one on the inside. Also, left wanting more. The only thing bad I have to say about this is that the message beauty is on the inside, your dreams are possible, is smacked a bit too much in the audience's face. I think it was at least once an episode. We got it. Overall, Ugly Betty is an enjoyable sitcom that although people may be put off, but it's warm, great storyline with most of the central characters. My only request for season two, more Christina. Okay, so I don't know if she's finished watching this because that was in 2007. So, okay. Again, going back to where she says Betty is not ugly. Okay, I'm going to point it out again because I don't know if she's finished watching this. Ugly Betty. She works in a fashion magazine company. Everybody there, from the editor in chief to the designers to the models, everybody is beautiful. Like I said, from the first person that you walk in, Amanda, she's the receptionist. Everybody is beautiful. You looking at this girl? No, not fashionable at all. Is she ugly? No. She's like an awkwardly cute girl. Like, you know, it's also it's in the show, but you look at her when you're at a dance. She's someone that's either sitting at the bleachers or like the rest of the nerds, get up against the wall and hoping someone will dance with them. I'm sorry, but it's true. Um, but yeah, do we want to do one more? Um, let's do this one, okay, and then we'll cut it. Okay, yeah, because this is pretty long. Okay, so this is in 2007 as well. Nowhere near as good as the hype will have you believe, but um, it's amusing enough to dip into here and there. In the superficial world of Mode Fashion Magazine, few, if any, of the staff do not fit in with the world they sell. However, publish, publisher Bradford Mead changes this when he decides to hire a secretary for his son, Daniel. Then he feels confident will not just become another sexual conquest for his offspring. And so the anti fashion character of Betty Suarez enters the world of mode, much to the irritation of Daniel. However, her hard work and cheerful outlook should be an S, wins Daniel over, even um, if her colleagues, Lord, I can't read. Colleagues see her as an out of place and out of her depth, both finding her feet, um, or finding their feet. Betty helps Daniel find his way through the treacherous world of mode, whether it will be um, through Wilhelmina Slater or the unseen hands of the mysterious masked woman. Yes, there is a masked woman in this show, but well, I'd say the first season. I think in the second season it indulges. Arriving in the UK on a wave of the hype from the US, I turned into Ugly Betty, hoped that it would be an imaginative and funny affair not too dissimilar from My Name is Earl. The way, this way, my mistake, but I quickly got past in and settled into the comic spoof of the fashion world. And for the most part, how the series gets by on the comic charm of Betty and the parody of the high fashion world with all the easy targets that fulfill it. All this is with good and makes a good, nice piece of light entertainment, but the series started to run out of novelty value and started to need more and more story. Now, from the start of this series, I never really cared about the mysterious woman or the secrets held by Bradford Mead. And throughout the series, I didn't feel, I didn't even find it silly, just dull. It doesn't help that the series got more and more prone to melodrama and simultaneously, um, wait, what are you saying? Okay. Don't know what he's saying. Okay. This is seen in the various character subplots that take away from the central, silly, and superficial antics of Betty within this world where she doesn't belong. The um, latter is really what makes the series enjoyable, but for the former or mostly poor because there is no depth to support them or characters that really care about. The performances are okay when the light comic air is that the for but it's so hard to read this for but mostly struggle when asked to do more. Barrera is a great in the lead, bringing out the great heart is the core of the story in the middle of the superficial beauty around her. Maybe it's played by Daniel is a lot weaker by comparison and the shows nothing of the character by that Betty seems to be able to see. Uh Williams is okay, but she looks like a lot older than she is, which is supposed suits the character supporting turns from Jensen. And you're mostly of the color value. Okay. I don't know what this person is saying. I'm guessing she gave it a or he, whoever this person is, gave it a 6 out of 10. Um Especially if you're referencing my name is Earl. Don't know. I do not know what any of that means. So I will say yes, there are a lot of again for if you have not seen this show, and I do recommend, if you have some downtime, don't have anything else to watch, check it out. It's a really good show. Yes, there are definitely moments where you're like, "Oh my god, this again. Oh my god, this again." Yeah, okay, so like in the first season, you have to have a starting point, a jumping point. Um because yes, Bradford Mead, um, he is hiding the fact that um, his mistress um, got killed in a car accident, but didn't want it to be uncovered. Um, and then you see this woman, his who is all in bandages. You don't get to see who it is until um, the second season. Uh, and like I said, it's a lot of drama. Again, comedy, drama, dramedy. But overall, I mean, I think it's a really great show. Um, I think everybody's fabulous in it. Um, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Um, Other than yes, I wish there would have been more seasons for it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe ending at a six six season. I don't know. Just seeing like where is she at now? Maybe if they came back and be like, where are they now? You know what I'm saying? Um I know they tried I keep bringing up Heroes because that show came out of the run at the same time, and they tried to do unsuccessfully, I might add, to bring back Heroes, calling it Heroes Reborn, and it did not work out. The thing with that, I think, is you should have had the same characters come back. I don't know what you needed to do, but you needed them to come back. And you're bringing in new characters is by subpar, and it didn't work out. So I say if this was ever to come back in whatever kind of capacity, bring everybody back and just seeing where are they at. Like, I mean, well, I mean, is doesn't have to take over a company, but I don't know. I mean, something has to be where she's like, oh, I need to do this now. Where is Mark? A lot of things you question, and we don't have any answers to. We don't have, But like I said, overall, I love the show. I think it was fabulous, fabulous writing, fabulous acting. I give it a 10 out of 10 for sure, for sure. And even like looking back at it, um, this was 2006. So if you watch it, you're gonna see like the phones. I don't know. Do we have anything? Uh, maybe I don't know if anybody like remembers like the phones from 2006, but it's like probably that to her, maybe to her chin, and and then you're just like, hello, you're talking on it. At that point, like smaller was better, and then now bigger is better for whatever reason, and then it became like the flip phones, the razor phones. And so you see all the stuff of the fashion that was then in now, and you're looking at stuff that it is in now. So it's comical in a way to see what it was then versus now. There's some things that didn't age well, but overall, like I said, I give it a 10 out of 10. Watching it, maybe just love it again. And it made me um seeing cameos from certain people because this was a very hyped show and people wanted to be on the show. And yeah, that's kind of all I got. But so if you do happen to enjoy what I just did, if you wanted any changes, should I talk more about it, talk less about it? Tell me your thoughts, comments, and everything like that. Have you seen Ugly Betty? Give me your thoughts and comments. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, if you do like it, let me know. Should I do heroes next? If not, then I'll just keep doing movies. I don't know. um, I just at this point, I hadn't watched anything new because I was rewatching this, and I was like, let me talk about it. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, comment down below. Let me know. And subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, I really am. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I can't grow it without people subscribing. So help me out. Help me out. All right, all right. So all right, thank you. Have a great rest of the day. See you next time. Bye.